You are watching Anachronology.
This next category, however, I think, although it's not the greatest decade for films, the 1988, a great year for movies. Great year for movies in the old US of A. I
I
mean,
will totally agree with you. And us being, I guess, proclaimed cinephiles, I think some really great stuff came out in '88. Really quick, before we jump into movies, we're going to do a shameless plug like we always do for you to help support the show. We can't really
oh
do
yeah,
this without the helps of sponsors. You can subscribe by clicking the little subscribe link below the video so you can see all the new stuff that we put out week to week. We also have a Patreon. You can subscribe to that. We have a few different tiers of being a Patreon member. We got a lot of fun stuff for our Patreon members. We do actually bonus content for every episode that comes out. There's an additional category. There's a segment roulette. We do a lot of fun things, little extra special things in that Discord channel. We make it worth your while. You come on, you become an anachronaut with us, and you're pretty, crucial in picking future years, helping us kind of configure the epoch traverser. It's a good time, and we really can't do it without you. So please help us.
there's something you want to see us do, you let us know. There's something we're doing wrong or doing you don't like, let us know. There's something
Let
you
us
like, let us know. Just let us know. Just come on, just hang out with us. Just come
Exactly.
on, hang out.
Holler at your boys. We
Yeah.
love doing this. But your help is definitely much appreciated. Now on to movies. Look at this, another incredible AI producer
Yeah, look
piece
at
of
this
work
image.
here. I want to see this movie. This is incredible. It's got gore. It's got monsters.
We've got the
It's got some Dennis Hopper looking motherfucker up there on the right.
I was gonna say, yeah, definitely almost like a little like young Christopher Lee, or Christopher Lee, how he would look in a 1980s movie. I don't
Okay,
know
I
who
like that.
that broad is, but that broad is like a perfect amalgamation of an 80s, an 80s hottie. I mean, she looks like
Great.
like a late 80s hottie.
Killing it, AI
Yep,
producer as always. Just smoking it.
yeah, like got a
Really
little
nice.
sci-fi business down here. I mean, the sci-fi was huge in the 80s.
It's
Got like
perfect.
everyone's trying to be the next Star Wars.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
a monster fest. It's
yeah.
absolutely terrific. Let's dive in. '88. What a year. We're gonna roll right into '88. Obviously, one of my favorite action movies of all time, Die Hard, came out in
Man,
'88.
I probably on
The
making like
best.
lists of, oh, what's my, what's your favorite? Like, I wonder if like if I
Yeah,
think about it, if I would put Die Hard in like my top 10 of all time. Like, because
I
dude,
think
Die
so.
Hard is it's such a good movie. Like, dude, this
So
fucking
good.
guy, Bruce Willis, he was
This
in,
is
like
right.
we brought up Moonlighting, and then I think they wanted like
Mm,
Schwarzenegger, they wanted Stallone, like
sure.
they wanted somebody more like beefy for the role of John McClane. And I can't remember whoever the producer was who like went to bat for Bruce Willis. And everyone
Ugh,
was like, oh, the guy from Moonlighting, he's not going to be any good.
yeah.
Could you imagine anybody else like is in the role of John
No.
McClane? Like,
And I think, like you just said, if it were just the stereotypical Stallone or Schwarzenegger or Van Damme or whomever else at that period was kind of hitting a fever pitch, I think it could have just been lost in the fold and just been another movie. Bruce Willis comes in and I think he created the new hero. I think there was a new kind of thing, the new kind of like underdog. And another thing too, what I really like about Die Hard and the John McClane character, he gets his ass kicked in
oh
the
yeah,
movie. He just gets
oh, yeah.
absolutely beat up. He runs through broken glass. The dude just puts himself through a whole world of hurt and he still wins. That's
And of
freaking
course,
badass.
and excellent bad guy Hans Gruber,
Oh,
Alan Rickman, R.I.P. I mean, to
incredible.
have a so not only do you have an
Incredible.
awesome good guy, you've got a badass fucking bad
Amazing.
guy in Hans Gruber. So good. And
I
Christmas
had to be
movie for
fun.
to end the
I had to be
debate. It's a Christmas movie too. It's a Christmas movie. It's 100% a
Yeah.
Christmas movie.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, and it just spawned, it spawned this whole franchise. I mean, I think their guilty pleasure, I think Die Hard 2 is kind of stupid fun. It's just trying to reinvent what Die Hard the original did, naked Tai Chi, icicle through the eye. It has it has all its weird moments in that
Dennis
film.
Franz.
Yeah, Dennis Franz, and then I personally really loved Die Hard with a Vengeance too.
The
I think
Vengeance. Yeah,
that
3 is
those are three right there. That's like the trilogy, and they're just perfect. And Willis, he's a G, dude. Look at him.
yeah, I don't know, like, if they were gonna, like, remake, like, let's say, if this is 88, right? Let's say shit, we're at 98. Oh, wait, fuck. They could, like, 40 years will go by here, right? And, like, if someone wants to remake Die Hard 1,
Oh,
how do you
I don't know how you do that.
how do you remake the character of John McClane? Like, he is so indelibly that guy. Like, anything else, you'd have to. It's an impossible task. It's an impossible task to like be as cool at John McClane as Bruce Willis was in Die Hard at John McClane. Like, I don't think you can. It's like, if there's someone wants to remake it, just leave it. Just let it go. It's
Yeah,
classic. Let it go.
I feel very strong about that, and I'm sadly enough, I know there will come a time where that will
I know.
happen, and it will be a sad day because nobody is going to bring the pain like this motherfucker did.
Like John McClane.
Oh, speaking of
88.
bringing the pain, 88 also gave us another
Yeah.
incredible, I thought, just overall film. And it's weird, out there in its own genre. Freaking Beetlejuice, man. Beetlejuice slays.
And isn't he's only in it for like 20 minutes or something? Like, he really doesn't have a lot of screen time, but
No,
he
he really
steals the
doesn't.
fucking show. He
Steals
steals
the
it,
show.
dude.
He's hilarious. And he's so, I mean, you think about this too. This sets him up. He does Batman after this. He works with Burton. They like each other. He's like, you know what? You'd be a badass Batman. And I think Michael Keaton, up until this point, I mean, what else had he done? Mr. Mom?
Mr. Mom, I think was Gung Ho before
Yeah,
this.
it
Gung
might be.
Ho.
Or, yeah, it might have been before it. And I think that he was one of those dudes that he just he had the it factor, you know what I mean? And it's just like, he's, even through his career, he has such depth, whether he wants to do the dramatic thing, he wants to do the funny thing, he wants to do like the dark serious thing. Dude pulls it off, man. Michael Keaton is a quadruple threat.
Yeah, great movie. Great movie.
It's really
Man,
great. And I think, yeah, and like,
No, go ahead.
think about the other people in that. You got Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis,
You
Winona
got that
Ryder.
guy, the guy who got in trouble for touching little boys, Jeffrey Jones, the dad. Oh yeah.
We can't forget Jeffrey Jones. Yeah, that's true.
The dude who played what's his name, like Otho or Udo, the big
Otho.
dude, like the
Otho.
interior designer, Otho, right? Otho, that guy. Oh man.
Catherine O'Hara was the Catherine
The
O'Hara.
moms. Yeah, the moms. Yep, Catherine O'Hara's the mom. Dude, she's sneaky. She's sneaky, popping up and stuff too.
She's sneaky too. Yeah, but the juice is loose, man. 88, bringing the Beetlejuice, man. Great flick.
Oh, it's okay. Now,
Oh,
R.I.P. John Candy, dude, king of the '80s, John Candy, you poor bastard.
King of the 80s, baby.
So is this? Okay. I want to say John Hughes wrote this, but did not direct it. That's, dude. John Hughes just pumping movies out left and right.
I believe you're correct. I think this is a John Hughes thing, but I don't think he was fully attached to actually directing it. Let me ask AI producer. That's a great question, but I think that's the thing about the trickiness of John Hughes too. He just he popped up in a lot of things that you didn't even think were John Hughes, and guy was prolific writer, man.
Yeah, I mean Dan Aykroyd. I'm trying to remember who's his wife.
Annette Bening is his wife.
Annette Bening's the wife. Annette Bening's the wife. One of my favorite scenes, like food related scene in any movie, is when he goes to eat the 96er, and
The old
he's
96er.
like, and there's like just grizzle on the plate, and he's like, yeah. So what do you say? We get the meal for free? Like Dan Aykroyd's like, he's got to finish all of it, and he's like, there's nothing but gristle on that plate. And like John Candy's like, like sweating, just bloated.
Great.
Oh, it's so good.
And it's funny because obviously I think you get like the two kind of comedy prowess. Like Candy was such a great physical actor, and then Aykroyd was just a force of his own. Dan Aykroyd was also just really swarmy and great in it. I looked it up. AI producer told me Howard Dutch is the director of Great Outdoors, who apparently was a fairly popular director in the 1980s. But yeah, all over that John Hughes writing credit. Yeah. And obviously he loved John Candy, wrote for him frequently, threw him in his stuff. And this one's a good one. And it's just quirky and weird. And it would, if it was made in nowadays, it would just get lost in the fold. But it's one of those little comedy gems of the late 80s. Absolutely.
Yeah. But speaking of comedy gems,
my man, speaking of comedy gems, Leslie, baby. Naked Gun is just perfect.
And wasn't this his like first comedic? Well, aside from Airplane, right? Like obviously aside from Airplane, like did he do anything else that was funny aside from Airplane? Because he was on
serious actor.
Yeah, but I guess what was it? Was it Dragnet? Was that the one? Police Force. What was the show that was also?
I believe
Police
that
Squad?
Police Squad was the
Police
TV
Squad,
show that Naked Gun is based off of.
based off of. Okay,
So I
all right.
think
So there was
Frank
that.
Drebin was a character on Police Squad, and this was just like the big movie version of it. And then they
Okay, the
made what
movie version of it.
3 Naked Guns, I think, throughout during
Two and
its
a half. Yeah,
time.
2.5 and 33 and a third. Yeah.
Yeah, and OJ was in all of them too. So like, how can we forget the juice? The juice was loose at that point. But this was another one, and these are I want to say, is it the Zucker brothers that did this?
That sounds right. That sounds
And
right.
I believe it's the same people that did Airplane. So it's all those like really
Mhm.
goofy zinger pieces of comedy. And Leslie Nielsen just plays this straight man through most of it, and he's hilarious in all his delivery. It's so pitch perfect. I think what's the guy? He's the bad guy. He was on Fantasy Island. He's the bad guy in this.
Oh, Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's her name? Presley. Wasn't
Priscilla.
Priscilla Presley,
right? Isn't that Priscilla? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you're talking about this thing's pretty stacked with actors.
This is like one of my dad's favorite movies. My dad loves this movie.
Dude, it's just so great. And then of course you can't see the full poster. It's him riding the bullet. It's just like, dude, it's just so iconic. And it was a big movie that spawned a lot of fun after it.
Speaking of big movies, literally big.
Speaking of big, look at this guy.
Robert Loggia coming off of his cocaine high from Scarface. Yeah, when he plays like Frank in Scarface.
Yeah,
he
what a
gets to flee to New York City. He uses cocaine money to buy a fucking toy business.
I can hear his voice.
So Tom Hanks, obviously another darling of the 80s. I'm trying to think if he did. Splash was before this, I think. Splash was before this.
Bachelor Party, right?
Pretty obvious.
Splash. Bosom Buddies was his big TV thing that he did.
The Burbs? Is the Burbs after this? Burbs, I think, is after this. I think Burbs is after this. But either way,
Burbs,
I mean,
very closely after this. But this was a cool movie. It was a cool concept. It was, I think everybody's kind of dream to like all of a sudden just be a grown ass adult and, break all the rules, do whatever you want.
Like a modern fairy tale.
It was
the kid
Zoltar, wasn't it the name of the thing that like gave him the like in the amusement park? Is that what it's called? Zoltar?
Yeah, I believe Zoltar. Yeah, when he had to make his wish.
And, it was a very interesting film, man. I don't remember much about it.
Well, I do remember what's her name from Sex and the City. That actress. There you go. Yeah, she totally bangs a child. Yeah.
All right. AI producers bring back some memories here. Yeah, let's talk about this. There was some weird juju going on here. Obviously, he was a young. How old was the boy? How old was the boy and the man?
Wasn't he 13?
14? Okay, he 13.
13, I think.
Yeah, he's 13 and 14. And sorry, you went too far, AI. So 13 or 14, and he's all touching titties in this, and they definitely, I think, allude that they have sex in the movie. No doubt.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Because then at the end of the movie where she's like, he turns back into him, his teenage self, and she's like, "How old are you? 16?" He's like, 13 or so. She's like, 13. Like she knows she fucked up. She fucked up.
But she thought about it. Maybe if he said he was a different age, she would have continued on that kind of creepy ass relationship with this kid. But yeah, he had a cool job. He worked at like a toy company or some shit. Wasn't that his like whole job or something?
He basically lied his way into that position, and I can't remember what happens. I think like Robert Loggia finds him playing. No, that's what happens. Robert Loggia, when they're doing the keyboard, that's right. He goes to FAO Schwartz, whatever, to like to blow off steam. He's like, "Oh yeah, I like you. You work for my company. Here, come to my office, and I'll give you a raise." And it's like, and then
job interview of all time.
Yeah, and the guy who's like trying to bang Celia or whatever, he's like, "Oh, I can't believe this young upstart, is liked by Robert Loggia." But yeah, so it's basically just like any 80s movie where some white person gets like where luck befalls them. It's all just blind luck.
Yeah, and again, this kid in a grown ass man's body lands like this high paying job. I remember he has the most baller apartment in New York City, like floor to ceiling windows. It looks, it's
like a loft.
It's a goddamn loft. He's got a trampoline in it. It's like, bro, what the F's going on here, dude? It's really strange.
It is now time for a segment.
Oh, hey, AI. I guess it's time for a segment. Let's do a segment. Let's segment it up to the frame you went to too goddamn early, AI. Crushing hard. This will be, of course, we'll tie this into our movie category. This is a little segment we like to do where we obviously talk about the people in our past that we were crushing hard on. Now, at this point, and we're young lads, we're coming into our own. We're starting to get feelings we don't quite understand. Let's talk about some of those feelings, some of those people from our past in this segment, crushing hard. What do we got?
Oh, Jessica Rabbit.
Many feelings with this. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, 1988. You know, this movie is kind of it's a slippery slope, man. It really is. Like, it's very like, it's, you know, it's a Disney jam and it's animated, it's fun, but man, dude, there is some adult topics in this film.
The gag of like the guy, the private detective taking photos of her playing patty cake with the guy, dude, that is one of the best gags. And I can remember, like, as a kid, I remember being like, it's like, it's not just patty, like, obviously the goof turns out that that's what they are, playing patty cake, but I can remember like that humor, like the double entendre of patty cake not being patty cake. Like, that is such a good high level gag, and it's executed so well. And truth be told, I mean, look at this animated broad. I'd like to play patty cake with Jessica Rabbit. I mean, come on, who wouldn't?
I mean, I think her famous line is, "I'm not bad, I'm just drawn that way."
Drawn that way. Look at
And
her
I mean, look
face.
at that. You're asking a lot of questions when you're a young kid. You start wondering, and then you watch it when you get a little bit older, and it all starts to come into focus. I mean, look at Bob Hoskins. He can't even keep it together. I mean, those things have a tie in the Zeppelin race, basically. But yeah, there was a lot of strange feelings going on there. She was very, very sexy cartoon. I think like somebody who did her voice. It was somebody
Romancing the Stone. What the hell is her name? Kathleen Turner, right? Kathleen Turner? Isn't that right? Turner?
Yeah, I believe so. She did not age like Jessica Rabbit, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, a little rough around the edges there.
But yeah, lots of crushing hard on a few of those things right there, just like Mr. B. Hoskins was
Bobby
here.
Hoskins.
Bobby, what's up next? Oh, hell's yeah,
dude, Roxanne Kernahan.
Critters 2. I mean, this was an iconic scene. Remember, you know, that VHS got its rewind on it at a few points for sure.
I think I remember. I remember. I think I was like alone. Because I definitely saw this on VHS. I didn't see this like in the theater, and I remember being like alone in the, like making sure not getting caught, because this scene, I'm definitely crushing hard. Definitely crushing hard on Roxanne here.
There were some serious boobies in this, and you know, that was the funny part about a lot of these obviously R-rated, was just that it would be little quick moments of boobs, and that's what's like most of your childhood was just being like, were those boobs? And like, you know, boobs, and there were totally boobs. Yeah, look at those boobs. Those were lethal boobs too. Those were alien killing boobs. But yeah, she was a badass too. Critters is such a terrible but awesome sci-fi movie of its time. But I would say that's probably the most memorable part of Critters too. And wasn't Leo DiCaprio in one of them? Was he in Critters 2 or Critters 1?
I think he's in Critters 3.
Oh,
he's in one of them.
Yeah, right.
I can't remember, but you are right. He is in one of them. I just can't remember which one. I mean, if I don't think he's in 2, because these titties still show in 2. Like, I remember the titties. I don't remember DiCaprio.
Yeah.
I remember the titties.
I remember those titties well. And speaking of remembering some bosoms really well, absolutely, Leslie Easterbrook in all of the Police Academy movies. I don't know what the big Police Academy was in '88. It was like, I think it was Miami, the one where they go to Miami.
I can't do it. There's so many of them. Mission to Moscow. That must have been in the 90s.
Yeah, okay. Producer. It was Police Academy 5. So the 5th installment in the Police Academy movie. They made about several different Police Academy movies. I mean, probably 5 too many, but they were also just kind of like an excuse to show women with their tops off at times, the quick little shots, you know.
Dude, I'm surprised that there was actually, like if you said Police Academy, Elvira, 1988. I thought that was like the first Police Academy, not that there was 5 before fucking 1988.
Yeah, go back to that real quick. There we go. Yeah, I want to say the last one was in like the early 90s, and that might have been, like you said, the Mission to Moscow one may have come fairly early in the 90s, but yeah, I mean, and I think she was like some kind of Playboy model or something at some point in time in her life.
She definitely got the
attributes working for her, and the producers knew it was up for sure. Back to my girl,
Elvira.
Elvira, dude. I would say every man had some questions there. And if you weren't a tits man, you were after watching an Elvira movie. And if you weren't into goth chicks, you definitely were after watching an Elvira movie.
Like, I remember, I want to say, like, this was, I can't remember the name of, is it just called Elvira, like Mistress of the Dark? That might have been her show. Whatever her movie was. I remember this was be on like
Was.
the
Yeah.
afternoon matinee or something. Like, this got like heavy play, I remember. And
Yikes.
although you never see them they're in their full glory. I mean, she is just
You never do.
fucking,
Yeah.
but they're just, she's in the
They're
whole
out.
damn movie. So it's like you're waiting like maybe like that's how nice they are to look at. You're
And
hoping
then
that you're gonna
and
see more of them.
I remember she did, and then there was a period of time where she would host that, like, what was it, the USA Up All Night? Remember that?
Yeah, and it was like the Crypt Keeper, but with her.
Yeah, it was, and it was like really schlocky, bad B
Yeah.
horror movies or whatever, and yeah, man, she was definitely a staple. And that movie that you said was really terrible, but it was like it had like monsters and gore, and obviously featured Elmira's bosoms.
I can't remember like the plot of it. I can't remember if there's like some
No,
magical amulet or if they're trying to
something.
like something, but I do remember her titties. I do remember that. I do remember having quite the crush on you, Elvira,
I
as a
remember
little
them
boy.
well. That's right. And yeah, that's crushing hard, and we
Oh
were
man, nice.
crushing hard. Um, to wrap up 80s, 88 and movies, we'd be remiss to not talk about the fad of the sequel in the late
Mm,
80s. Everybody just kind of ran
shit.
wild with just
5
saying,
police academies.
yeah, with 5 police academies, but sequels were just an easy cash cow for people. It was just a way to go, we're going to make another movie. And a lot of times it was so lazy. It was basically just the complete same script of the first movie with
Mm.
just like take something out, put something in. So let's quickly take a peek at some of the glorious sequels that came out in just 88 alone, just in that year. Critters
Okay,
2.
Critters 2. The aforementioned
Okay,
Critters 2.
we just saw Critters 2. Police
Police
Academy
Academy
5.
5.
Okay, it was called Assignment Miami Beach. Look at that poster. That just says it all, man. That's
Quintessential
perfect.
80s.
Arthur 2 on
Oh
the
my
rocks.
god.
Like, we couldn't get
With
enough of
Liza Minnelli.
and Liza Minnelli, who are basically kind of like the female and male version of one another. If you look at them, it's kind of creepy.
So I remember Arthur 1, I remember is like a funny movie. I don't think I've ever seen Arthur 2. I don't even know there was an Arthur 2. I don't think. Like this is
Wasn't
like that.
Arthur just kind of like a man with alcoholism? That was just
Yeah.
kind of it. And he's funny.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Okay, yeah, that was the
That's
elevator
basically it.
pitch.
Yeah. It's Dudley Moore's a drunk and they said say no more.
Yeah, and they were just like,
Oh,
listen, we got Arthur 2 already lined up. He's ready to do
listen,
Arthur 2 on the rocks.
Liza Minnelli's in talks. She's the only one who can hang with Dudley Moore
Yeah.
and drink as much as him.
She was in Cabaret, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, here's a great example. Should have never made this. Caddyshack 2 was so bad. Like, Caddyshack 1 is iconic. Like, it's just one of those iconic comedies. So bad, Bill Murray wouldn't even come back to reprise his role. So who did they
Yeah.
hire? Oh, the next best person, Dan Aykroyd, to play
Oh,
basically the Bill Murray character.
yeah, as I'm looking, it
Faces
says
for some reason in it still. Randy Quaid, who is that? I can't even tell who's in this movie.
that's Tom Arnold? Is that Tom Arnold? Is that like Rob Lowe? Like this is just like oh man, Dan Aykroyd kind of looks like Steve Buscemi. Yeah, this is no bueno. This is no bueno.
And the only
Just
thing was they were just like, you know what's people really love? They love this little fucking whatever that little varmint was that would just
the
the little gopher. Like that was it. That was the whole thing that I think they put more gopher fucking gags in Caddyshack 2 to try to appeal
Kenny
people.
Loggins. I need more golfer. I need more Kenny Loggins. That's
I
the
wonder
only
if Kenny Loggins wrote another song too to try to get another hit off of it. That's some
Yeah, some
weak-ass
producer,
shit.
whoever was writing the check, they're like, listen, you can either have Kenny Loggins song or you can have more gopher. And they're like, well, we have the rights from the first time
Let's
around
go.
for It's All Right. So we'll just dump more into the gopher.
A
We want
producer
all
wanted
gopher.
a producer wanted to build a pool house, and they were like, "I got Caddyshack 2 on the books, baby. Let's go." Cocoon
The return.
Because we asked for this. We needed more Wilford Brimley and magical, like age-defying aliens or whatever the fuck. I can't even. If you ask me what's the plot to Cocoon, I can't even tell you. What is it?
I think like why do they need to? Yeah, doesn't Cocoon end
Why did they come
with?
back?
Yeah, I thought they like the holiday season journey to the most wonderful place in the universe, home. All right, I'm out of my depth here because I really don't remember. I remember Hume Cronin and Jessica Tandy as like in Cocoon. I remember that, but the
The
Cocoon, the
Return.
return.
Yeah, so again, talk about total 88 greed. We're making Cocoon The Return.
Oh,
Oh,
Dundee.
Dundee
Okay,
2,
so
baby. I remember
so
this one was awful.
so this is 100% like you're saying. Just but instead of him being in New York, he is back in the Outback, right? Isn't that with two? Don't they go back to the Outback?
I think there's something that happens like that, and it's still just like it because they've already exhausted the fish out of water kind
Yeah.
of thing and the first one. So in this one, he's just still like, "Good eye, mate." Like this ain't a knife. Like that shit's
I thi
old. Like you're not gonna do that anymore.
Yeah, I think there's some, like, land developer or something that he has to, like, take on, but instead of, doing it in New York
You're
City,
not gonna
he's
build
doing it in the Outback.
condominiums here,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah, yeah.
It was awful. And again, just a shame. And honestly, I think this was also just what was his name? Paul Hogan. Is that his
Paul Hogan.
name? Paul
Mhm.
Hogan just was like pushing hard. I think he basically had all up till like he was like, look, they're doing it with Police Academy, mate. We could do 5 of these. They're like, Paul,
Paul,
buddy,
listen, listen, we
bro.
can we can we can put you in New Zealand for number 3, and then after that, we're out of ideas. I mean, we can't make 5 of these. There's only so much places you can go.
All right, hold on. Let me make a note to myself. Burn the Crocodile Dundee 3 script. Okay, cool. There goes my dream. Iron
Iron
Eagle
Eagle
2.
2.
Honestly, I could watch so many Lewitt Gossip Jr. hits, bro. Like he was it. He made the Iron Eagles.
Who was
They were like not as cool Top Guns, kind of, right?
Yeah, that's for damn sure, but who was in the first one? Who was like was it someone like a
Lewitt
Rob
Gossip.
Lowe? Someone yeah, well, yeah, no, definitely Louis Gossett Jr., but I was trying to think of, like, who was, like, the white
Yeah,
guy
I
in it
know.
because I wanna
Who's
say
the
that
white
he
guy?
yeah, that, like, Louis Gossett Jr. had to, like, teach him the ropes and how to be, like, a better pilot,
Yeah.
but I wanna say it was someone who was, like, a name, and I guess Iron Eagle 1 did so well, whatever offers he got off Iron Eagle 1, he didn't come back for it, but you know who did? Louis Gossett Jr. Louis
Of
Gossett
course he
Jr.
did.
came back for that shit.
He signed like an 8 Iron Eagle deal when
Eagle
he signed the
deal.
first one.
I am the
Oh
Iron and
shit.
Iron Eagle. Oh,
And
yeah,
then who can
Rambo versus
forget
Afghanistan.
this was an exhaustion, I think, of Rambo though. Like 1, awesome. 2, I'll take it. 3, I mean, who else? I mean, who was he fighting in this?
This is
Koreans? He was
the
ripping
Russians. He had
somebody
to go
up.
to
Oh,
Afghanistan. He had to go to
yeah,
Afghanistan, and
yeah.
that's when the
Fighting
Russians were
helicopters and
yeah,
shit.
where it gets yeah, so he had to go fight the Russians on behalf of the Afghani people, which, if you only fast forwarded about 10, 15 years from then, Sloan or Rambo, you wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. And I feel like in every Rambo, his hair turned more permy. Like, look how
Oh,
permy
yeah.
his hair is in this one. He's looking like Slash in this one, man. It's
It's just
big
minus the
hair.
top hat.
And he also really got, I mean, he's ripped. I mean, look at see his ribs under
Yeah,
his titty there.
he's on that, like,
And plus,
1980s TRT.
yeah,
He's on
I
that, like,
wouldn't have
that
asked
early
man,
cycle.
dude. Yeah, he really is. Oh, hells yeah.
Whoa.
We needed more Johnny Five in '88. Absolutely. Like they didn't mock Fisher Stevens playing an Indian man enough. They needed to bring that shit
Yeah,
back.
yeah, his ass be canceled. So,
Yeah.
a couple things. This poster is awesome. I do really like
It
this
is a cool
poster.
poster. Yeah. See, and
I
this
like how he's
this was the mystique of the '80s was these kinds of cool things.
so he is like over 100 pounds, several hundred pounds of metal on a floaty pool device in a pool. So that's like defying physics right there. That's awesome. But then if you
Got a
look at
cocktail.
the ladder to get into the pool, what do I spy with my little eye? A little top, a little bikini top there. So
Oh, look at that.
this robot is like pulling tail, dude.
He
And
really
and,
is.
and apparently
Take
someone
your top
off the
off.
side. Yeah, yeah. Show me them titties.
Yeah.
So, and he's got he's got a little like coke grin going on here too. So we got like a
Yeah.
coked up floating robot just surrounded by titties, bro.
This is a great poster. I mean, honestly, if they made it for anything, they just
I
made it
want
to
to
be
be
a
him.
sweet ass poster. I do too. Yeah, and again, I can't even tell you what happened in the second short circuit. It was just more like weird robot hijinks, I guess.
Yeah. So in the first one,
He
does
escaped from the lab and shit, right?
yeah, but are there the other Johnnies, like Johnnies 1 through 4? Doesn't he have to like fight,
Oh,
or does he fight them in 2?
I
Because
don't
I
know. What's
can't
the
read.
one where he makes the mohawk and he's all
Well,
angry coming after that
see,
guy?
I think that's in 1, because 'cause aren't they playing, like,
Okay,
I Need a Hero?
yeah,
And he's
that's a
like
great
he's
scene.
like he's like tearing ass down, like, the side of, like, a wharf.
He
It's, like, at a
is.
waterfront, and
You're
there's, like,
right.
is it like the dude, is it like the bad guy, like, a helicopter or something? It's like a chase
I don't know.
sequence
It's
where he
beautiful though.
that's 1. That's 1. That's the good one. 2, I
It's
think
funny.
there's, like, I
Oh
think
my
the
god.
other Johnnies. He has to fight the other Johnnies, but dude,
Right,
1
it's
is
fair. Decent plot
and it
point.
has Fisher Stevens and Brownface, which is also
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, yeah, you can't beat it. Come for the robot fight, stay for the Fisher Stevens
Brownface.
and brown face. Poltergeist
There's
3? The 3rd
3.
one, okay. I guess, in a
So
high rise?
oh god, that's so they built an alien, they
What was
built a
her
high
name?
res at an
Carol
Indian
Ann,
burial
what was her
ground.
name?
Carol Ann, yeah. I think she died,
Carol
like, in real in real life, I think she
Ann.
died.
Ooh.
Uh,
Greg
yeah,
T.
I think the
Nelson was
actress
hot in the first one. Yeah, they couldn't even get Greg T. He was in his coach phase at that point, where he's like, "Look, I can't do this. I'm not coach.
what's
I can't come
what
back
is
and
it
do this
in
shit."
he's like, what'd he say? He's like, "You didn't move the bodies." Isn't that the line
Yeah.
where the poltergeists are all coming at the end? He's like, "You didn't
Yeah.
move the bodies."
Yeah. Yeah, again, just another like, "We can make a Poltergeist 3."
And
No,
wasn't
you
and didn't Spielberg
the
produced
first
1?
one.
I
The
don't
first
yeah, the
one.
first one, yeah, so
And the first one's good. It's got a lot of,
yeah,
like,
hold on.
interesting, practical effects and scares and shit, and then it
Yeah,
was like,
but
they jumped the shark.
once Spielberg's off it, they're like, "Okay,
Oh,
good. Spielberg's no longer looking over her shoulder. We can finally do a
yeah.
skyscraper on top of an Indian burial ground. We have 100 floors of terror."
There you go. That's when, more of the budget starts going into the cocaine budget of
Yeah,
these films,
80s,
I
baby.
wanna say. Ugh, I mean,
Ugh.
again, just the overkill, no pun intended, of all the Halloween. What
This
is
so
the
I'm not
return
the
of
biggest, like, fan of the Halloween movies. Like, the first one, like, the first
amazing.
one,
I
the
love the
OG one
first
is
one.
dude, and
Amazing.
I feel like Halloween is a series of films that, like, it does not hold up at all. Like, for them wanting to milk the name of Halloween, like, you'd think you'd
Yeah.
get, like, a good one. Dude,
Yeah.
you've got not only
Yeah,
whatever
it's
this is
true.
Halloween 4, there's, like, how Rob Zombie came out with one. There was, like,
Ugh.
H20. Remember, like, we were in high school when
Oh,
H20
yeah.
came out.
I remember
Then they
that
made,
one.
like, I can't remember, there was, like, at least a couple, like, Halloween Kills, Halloween, like, there has been
They
so
really
many
have
Halloweens,
they have
and
just you're right, dude. They've milked it. They've milked this IP and franchise for everything it's worth. And the thing about him as like a person, he's a very slow, lumbering killer. Like
yeah.
he's just very I mean, and it's like you're always just like, dude, how is nobody killing this guy? He's not, I don't know. He's not Freddy in your dreams. He's not Jason, who's like
I guess
kind of jacked and I mean, I guess Michael Myers is a big dude, but I never got it either. I would say the first one's amazing and
oh, the
great
first
and
one's
kind
great.
of I think it set the bar for lots of slashers.
Oh, yeah.
Love Carpenter, but you're right. I don't see a lot
And
of
then
the appeal.
and then what the hell happened?
Yeah, what the
The
fucking
re
hell happened? Oh,
oh,
speaking of
is this
fucking
my oh god,
Jason,
this is terrible too.
and then it's just
So
the
this is
same
another
thing.
one.
Yeah,
So
I think
at least I was gonna say, at least, like, with Jason movies, like, you get the same, like, at least the same formula all the time. You like,
all the time.
teenagers are gonna go bang, and then you wait for them to die. It's all basically like a setup for
The cha
the
cha
next
chas in the woods
gaudy
and
yeah,
shit.
yeah, the next kill. I wanna say that this Jason Takes Manhattan? I think
Yeah.
it was dude, I think it was I don't think they even could get a permit to, like, film in New York City, like, it was too expensive, so they had to shoot it in, like, Vancouver. So, dude,
Oh,
even, like, there isn't I don't
Vancouver
think there is,
doubling
like
for New York.
dude, I don't think there is any I think there is, like, one shot of, Jason in, like, Times Square, and even then, it's probably, like, that wasn't even, like, they didn't even have, like, a permit for that. I think they just put the guy, like, they, like, drove up to New York City for a fucking weekend, and they're like, "Hey, let's get the actor in the Jason mask, just put him up there, guerrilla shoot it," because there is no New York City in Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah, and again, I just know that like I don't know if it's I don't know. Again, they all kind of blend into each other. There's one where he just like kicks some guy's head right off his neck or something. That was super funny.
That's in this one. He boxes a guy on a rooftop for some reason,
Yeah,
and
and
he
the dude's all like
uppercuts his head.
fly and kind of like break dance fighting him and shit. Yeah,
But
that's
the
pretty much
there
the only thing I remember about this one.
the only other great part of this when like the protagonist girl when she like defeats Jason at the end. I remember this. They're in like the sewer and in like Jason like the kid Jason he like drowns at a lake so he has like an aversion to water. And when the sewer water comes and like knocks his face off, he has this like grotesque puppet face. And it like comes into frame and he just like throws up all this water out of his mouth and it's fucking awesome, dude. It
It's
looks
pretty good.
great. It
All right,
looks awesome.
cheers to that. The money
It looks like
shot
it's
of Jason
hilarious. It's
and
hilarious seeing just like this retarded dead body throw up water. It's fucking awesome. It's
and then what
great.
else do we have to round off the sequel? Hell, oh, our Freddy. Why
Yeah.
not? Of course. See, then again, you just went the Dream Master, you know. And
See
again, they did the same thing with Freddy. It was all these big horror IPs were just like, I mean, look at they all came out in the same year with a fucking sequel in '88. That's crazy. And
when
Freddy
was it
too,
I
like
mean,
Robert Englund is amazing. Like the makeup, the whole character, and you know what? I will say too that like as a kid, I always can remember. I think there was the allure of going to the video store. For those watching, a video store was an actual place you went to that had videos, and you would take videos and you'd bring them home and you'd watch them. So you'd go in, and the real allure is what the covers of the VHS tapes look like. And it's when it came to horror, it was what was the scariest, creepiest looking jacket for the VHS. And I can always remember, just like you see here, like the Freddy Krueger ones were scary because he just looked terrifying, you know? And then there was always the front sleeve, and then you'd flip it over and there'd be like little thumbnails and pictures and descriptions. But you talk about design and an art form long gone, but that was how you roped people into renting a movie back then. It's not like you could watch a preview at will, like we couldn't go on YouTube and see it. These were your previews right here were these pictures.
and I remember like obviously Freddy's like his character, he would always have like a pun or something. Like he would always have like a snarky
Always.
quip and he would like kill abroad. But I want to say like the
Always.
writing gets really bad where they it doesn't even like whatever they were filmed, like, just don't worry, we'll come up with something on the day of the shoot. And it's like there is definitely some really where he just like says like bitch,
So
just
bad.
he's like, it's curtains for you, bitch. And, like there's
Oh
always
no.
there's
Yeah, right.
yeah,
We've resorted
there
to
was
potty humor with Freddy Krueger. We're over.
yeah, and I remember that was like like they kind of did Freddy dirty like that. They didn't give
I
him
think
like
so.
I guess he's he's meant to be menacing and terrifying, and I guess I wonder if that's supposed to be for the adults. Like I don't know why he has those kind. He's
Yeah,
like a
why would you call
child
her a
rapist
bitch?
murderer. Like is that like to throw insult to injury? Like after
You
he's done
bitch.
like raping and murdering you, he just here's a pun over your dead body, you bitch. Like I feel like they just kind of did him dirty with that.
I
I
agree.
believe it is
Yeah,
time
bitch.
for an entertaining segment.
Oh, you want another segment, do
What
you,
do we got?
AI? All right. I guess we can do another entertaining segment. What can we
What's
do? What we got to work
segment?
through?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
bitch.
baby. We could do guilty pleasure, bitch. Guilty pleasure. What's guilty pleasure, Clay? What do we do? We do
So,
guilty pleasure
um, this is in movies. So, not
movies.
everyone has their different tastes and things, and a guilty pleasure could be something to you, which let's say it is not universally lauded as being some work of quality. However, it holds a space or a place in your heart because of what it is and how much you enjoy it. That's what I take a guilty pleasure to be. And we must have, I mean, if we got some 1988 movies, there's gotta be a couple guilty
I
pleasures in
agree. I
1988.
agree. I think well summed up. I think it's like I don't personally care if you don't like this. I think it has a special place in my heart. And that's why we want to tell you what is our guilty pleasure 1988. Right off the
I
bat,
fucking love this Willow.
my boy
Or
Warwick Davis rocking hard in Willow. I do think Willow is one of those jams 88 that came out. It's very underrated. I think it was bold for its time, and a lot of great people were surrounding it. Mr. Ron Howard, you had George Lucas. This was the fantasy movie he always wanted to make. You had Warwick
young
Davis. You had
Val
Vale,
Kilmer.
Mother F. and Kilmer as Mad Mardigan. You had it all. I mean, this movie is got it deep.
Kevin
Deep.
Pollak is one of the brownies.
Kevin Pollak, incredible. That's absolutely true. Yeah,
The little tiny
this
miniature
movie's
brownie.
thumps, man. I haven't seen it in a long time. And I know, like, I guess recently they did try to kind of give it a revival. They made this like Willow show,
TV show. I think they should got canceled.
TV show, which did not continue onward. But this is a tough one to kind of reignite the magic, no pun intended, that this thing had, because it really was. And it was just like a different kind of universe. I thought the characters were bigger, were larger than life, all bigger than Warwick Davis, obviously. Again, Mad Mardigan, just Val Kilmer slays in this movie. Like, I think his swagger, the way he fights in it, he's got great lines. He obviously was working out in this role. He's looking pretty tight. Prime Val Kilmer, prime in this. Get that little rat tail thing that he had.
One of my favorite depictions of violence in a movie at the beginning of Willow, when the little baby, like the special baby, is getting like spirited away by the midwife, and they sick like the fucking dogs, and the way the dog, the way that like rat dog tears apart that midwife, dude, it's like in the first like 3 minutes,
it's amazing.
and they freaking rip her apart. I
remember my sister and I being disgustingly sick and rewinding it and laughing at it, because it's just, and it's like a music cue too. There's like a big music hit when it jumps on her. It's perfect. You're right. They're like rat dogs. It's just, then they rip her to shreds. That's a great one. I forgot about that. And then there's like there's a great scene where like Val Kilmer's fighting like this troll and shit. Remember that? And he's and the troll's like screams at him, and he like screams back at he screams back at the troll, and he just kicks the troll off this huge bridge. It's just so, the comedy is very kind of underlined, but it's funny. It has a lot of funny moments and just a lot of big action sequences in it too.
When he's in like the bird cage thing at the crossroads, and he wants the water, and he keeps calling him Peck.
Yeah,
he's like, Peck, give me a drink of water, you Peck.
Oh, it's so good, dude. Costume design. Yeah, this guy.
The bad guy. I can't remember who played this guy. This guy was awesome.
And just look at that. Look at how menacing that shit is, dude.
And the girl who played like the evil sorceress's like adopted daughter. Yeah, whoever, like the love interest of Mad Mardigan. I think Val Kilmer ended up like marrying that girl in real life. But yeah, whoever that actress is too, like, oof, man, she was a pretty broad. I don't know what happened to her, but man,
she was beautiful.
Dude,
but
Willow is so good, dude. Willow is so awesome.
Great. It's awesome, dude. And if you haven't seen it and you're sleeping on it, that's a guilty pleasure. I highly recommend.
Oh yeah.
Oh baby,
here you go. This
Young
is
Guns,
like
baby. Young Guns.
This is definitely a guilty pleasure.
Totally. Look at this lineup. Look at this. This is the who's who of young Hollywood at this point. I mean, you got it deep. With the exception of maybe Homeboy between Emilio Estevez and who's the guy on the far right?
That's Dermot Mulroney.
Yeah, but then there's
Dermot Mulroney,
Peter, whatever.
Charlie, Lou Diamond. Yeah, there's Kiefer Sutherland, Charlie Sheen, Lou Diamond Phillips, Emilio. I can't remember that guy, and Dermot Mulroney.
Yeah.
Or is that Dylan McDermott? That's Dermot Mulroney? Or yeah.
No, I think you're on point with that. Yeah, but look at these guys; they're just absolutely crushing it. And look, you got the Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen in the same movie together. I think weren't they in Men at Work? Was that their other jam that they were in? Yep. Yeah, I like Lou Diamond Phillips too. He's dope in this, and it's just like I don't know what this would be, like a late '80s version to like Magnificent Seven or something. Maybe not the same plot, but they were just like they were young guns. They were young guns. I mean,
yeah,
they were hot.
It was an
cowboys.
Excuse. I think it was like an excuse too to like make a cowboy movie, but also put like Bon Jovi music to it, because I think Bon Jovi like exclusively has, I think like all the music is like
Dead or Alive.
Dude, I think it's like how like Jason or John Williams like does all the stuff for like Star Wars. I think it's like musical score arranged by John Bon Jovi. Like all the music is. But this is guilty pleasure.
And there was the Young Guns too. We were talking about that, like the era of the sequels. Young Guns 2 did come out after, and I don't believe it held a single flame. Oh, I looked at AI producers telling me Casey Siemaszko is Homeboy that we didn't know. And you were right. Dermot Mulrooney is our
Don't
homeboy.
worry.
But yeah, I don't know who the
The
hell Casey Siamesco is.
in I do remember Young Guns too, though. Christian Slater, he plays a good asshole. Like Christian
Oh,
Slater, he
okay.
gets
Maybe he took somebody's role.
yeah, but Christian Slater is in 2. But yeah, again, the in the time of sequels, you're not really missing much if you haven't seen
No, you're not.
if you haven't
And I
seen, you're
do
not missing much.
remember Jack
But Young
Palance.
Guns.
Palance is in this too. Anything Jack Palance
Oh,
would grace.
oh,
Wasn't he one of the bad guys, the baddies?
oh man, I
I mean,
can't.
all Jack Palance has to do is show up and talk, and you're just like,
Is
oh, man.
or is he the bad guy, or is James Coburn the bad guy in this?
Hold
I
on.
can't remember.
Producer threw me something here. It says that Jack Palance is in it. Terrence
But I can't
Stamp.
remember.
Terrence Stamp might be the
Terrence
bad guy.
Stamp. I think Terrence
Oh,
Stamp is the
Terry
bad guy. Yes,
O'Quinn. Terry O'Quinn was in it too. Look at
oh
that.
shit!
Rolling deep.
Who the hell is he? I wonder who
He
the hell.
plays
I can't remember.
Alex McSween.
I can't
at
see
these
him in my
badasses.
mind's eye in the movie.
But it's good if you like cowboy stuff. It's just kind of schlocky fun, I would say.
For
Get at it.
80s. Yeah, with John Bon Jovi.
Yeah, dude, just stay for the Bon Jovi. I mean, if you want to watch anything, just get it for the sweet credit sequence. Oh, baby.
Oh,
Guilty
fucking
pleasure
Running Man.
all the way. The Running Man. Incredible, dude. This is one of those jams that I feel like people don't even if you are getting into Schwarzenegger now, like people, this is a deep cut, a deep Schwarzenegger cut.
So obviously Terminator is before this. Commando is before this. Predator is before this. I mean, True Lies is after this. True Lies is after this. Terminator 2 is after this. So in the pantheon of like Schwarzenegger movies, I would not say this is often up there with like, oh, it's one of his best. But dude, Running Man is 100% a guilty pleasure. Running Man is a dope ass movie. Dude, what's his name? Richard Dawson, right? Is the host?
The real life talk show host is like the evil talk show host in this flick. And then you got Jesse Ventura's in it.
Jesse Ventura.
He's freaking great. And it's great. It's a good slice of like future dystopian, post-apocalyptic, whatever you want to call it, like societal like carnage kind of thing where guys on a game show, he's basically hunted, has to fight these dudes for sport, and it's just balls to the wall. It's super violent. It's there's all kinds of sweet little one-liners and deaths, and it's based off of a Stephen King book.
Stephen King. I was gonna say Stephen King.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
for I mean, I think it's also like, I mean, a lot of stuff. A lot of King that's been adapted is obviously loosely. It's not. I don't think it's like a one. So this isn't like a 1-to-1 adaptation of here he is of King. But for a Stephen King, like everyone thinks of like The Shining or something like or Shawshank Redemption. This is a King adaptation, and I gotta say for as much as there isn't,
Dawson, man.
bad movies,
Before he was there he is.
There he is. There he is.
Yeah, he couldn't do that in this one. They were like, "There's no mouth kissing here in the future."
He wants some old sugar. He wants some of that old sugar.
But it was fucking badass, dude. It was. It is one of those things that it's like it's totally their chemistry is great, and I want to say he says, "I'll be back" in this too, and they almost,
believe so. I believe so.
Yeah, okay, I want to say he does.
What is his character's name? What is Dawson's character's
Damien
name?
is his name.
Damien.
I'll be back. And then they launch him into the city in this like little rocket car thing. It's fucking hilarious. But yeah, that's it, y'all. That's Guilty Pleasures, and that's that wraps up the movies of 1988. That was a
great
beefy category. There was a lot to talk about there, but a great year, I think, all around for cinemas. Yeah, I mean, I think like I mean, obviously we're missing a lot. I think that we'll post up a bunch of more of the 88 stuff that came out up in the Discord channel for all of our.
There's no shortage of sequels. We know that,
dude. There is no shortage of sequels. It's just absolutely pitch perfect.
Now a word from one of our wonderful sponsors.
Oh, thank you, AI producer. He's correct. We need to go to break here from one of our wonderful sponsors. So hang tight. And we will be right back after these messages.